right, so we are working with another problem where we are talking about subtracting linear expressions. However, in this example, we are given fractions to work with. It does not matter that they've given us fractions to work with because we're going to still use the same process that we've been using in the past. So the first thing I'm going to do is just rewrite our problem. And so what we have is going to be 2/3 x plus 1/2 minus a negative 3/8 minus 1/6 x. Okay. So first thing we need to do is remove our parentheses. Because this is positive, we know that everything is going to stay the same, right? So a positive times a negative, I'm sorry, positive times a positive is going to remain a positive. A positive times a positive will remain a positive. So all you're doing is just removing the parentheses for this section here. So 2/3 x plus 1/2. Okay. And then over here we have a double negative, right? So we know a negative times a negative becomes a positive, and then we'll have a 3/8. And then here we have a negative times a negative. That again gives us a positive 1/6 x. Okay, so we've taken everything out of the parentheses. We've taken care of those double signs. And so this is what we're left with. Now let's look and think about the columns that we'll need, also known as our bins. So we need a section or column for our x values. We'll need a section for our constants, and x values. Okay, I'm going to take one value from the x. So that's going to be 2/3 x. I'm going to check that off to let me know that I've taken care of that. I also need something from the constants. I'm going to put 1/2. That's been taken care of. And then we need to figure out where these two terms go. Okay. So we have 3/8. That's going to go under the constant. So that's 3/8. And that was a positive in front of that. So this is taken care of. And then we have 1/6 x. Okay, so we have 1/6 that goes under the x values. And this is also a positive as well. Okay, so now what you're going to do is same thing that we've done before. You're trying to find out the least common denominator for 2/3 and 1/6. So I'm going to do it manually, but of course, remember you guys have your calculator, and I'm just actually going to plug it into our calculator first. So we have 2/3, 2 ABC 3 plus 1 ABC 6. That should give me 5/6 x. And let's just go and check and see if that is what I actually get if I do it manually, which you should if I do it correctly. So 2/3. And I'm just not going to put the variables. I just need the quantities right now. Just a numeric portion. So 2/3 plus 1/6. And we're trying to figure out, we're talking about multiples of threes and multiples of sixes. So if we are talking about threes, we know that we have 3, 6, 9. And if we're talking about sixes, we have 6 and 12. And there's our common um, multiple that we have is a 6. So how do I go from 3 to a 6? I'm going to multiply by 2. And how would I go from 6 to 6? I'm going to multiply that by 1. Okay. So then when we bring that down, 2 times 2, we get 4. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Here we have 1 times 1 to give me 1. 1 times 6 to give me 6. Okay, and then remember we're adding. So when you add those two together, 4, 6 plus 1, 6, you end up with 4 plus 1, which is 5. And your denominator would stay the same. So we can just take this, put this over here. So notice that we got the same thing that we had here. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing for our constant. So again, if I plug this into my calculator, 1 ABC 2 plus 3 ABC 8, I should come out with 7/8. Okay. And by the way, this is going to be our answer. But again, I just wanted to show you that you can do this stuff manually. Okay. So we have our 1/2 plus our 3/8. Okay, we're talking about multiples of twos and multiples of eights. Okay, so we're trying to find out what multiple do we have in common. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8, and this is going to start off with 8. I don't even need to go any further because we see that the 8 is what we have in common. Okay, so how would I go from 2 in multiples of 2s to get to 8? Well, that's going to be 2 times 4. And if I'm counting by multiples of 8, how do I get 8? You just talk about one multiple of 8. So what we end up with is going to be 4 times 1. That would give me 4. 4 times 2 gives me 8. And then we have 3 times 1. That gives me 3. 8 times 1. That gives me 8. And our operation is going to be added, right? So we have 4 plus 3. That gives me 7. We'll keep our denominator and notice that we have the same thing here. So this was the correct answer, 5, 6x plus 7, 8.